I want to talk for a few minutes about strategies for success in biology class. Um, in each unit, there will be a routine of activities that probably you want to fall into, which will prepare you for the test on that unit. The typical routine kind of centers around you checking the bulletin board. And so from the main BioBook index, if you click on bulletin board, you will see the bulletin board listed by dates, and the oldest dates are below and the newest dates are on top. Always check the dates you're looking at to see if you're looking at the right ones. This is the first 2 days of school, Monday and Tuesday, August 15th, 16th. Um, and then take a look at what we're doing in class and what we're doing for homework. And I want to point out that I won't always list that there's a quiz in class, but we'll have a quiz just about every class. Nearly all quizzes are open notes, so have your notebook with you. There are no makeups for if you forget your notebook, if you leave your notebook at home. The penalty for doing that is a low quiz grade. I don't do makeups for quizzes because you forgot your stuff. It's not the end of the world if you blow a quiz. Is available bonus, throughout the quarter that you can pick up, some points. But it'll sting, if you get too many of those. It's going to definitely affect your grade. So you want to regularly bring that notebook to class. If you forget it, I'll send you back to your locker to go get it. So you'll see at the top of the room here, there's a link to the current topic, a link to your BioAssign, a link to the chat room, and a link to the resources page. And all of these pages are helpful, but really the most important one is your current topic. Now you can get to the current topic study sheet either clicking on this link, which will take you, in this case, it's the introduction study sheet. The other option is to go from the main index. So I'm going to go back to the main index and just click on current. That'll take you to the current study sheet. You really need to know this sheet. You need to read, the introduction. Why are we doing what we're doing in this unit? And what are you supposed to be able to do by the time you finish the unit? And then what words are you supposed to know? I mean, if you walk into the test and you don't have a handle on what these words are, you're not going to do well on the test. And then what these objectives are. I mean, if you're going to have a conversation, my goal at the end of this chapter is that you be able to have a conversation with me or someone else about the topics in this chapter. And so if you don't, go after this every night, 20, 30 minutes, by the time you get to the test, it'll kind of be overwhelming. So you want to study all of these objectives and kind of know them when you come into the test. Now, there usually is so much to know for a test that it's kind of overwhelming. Plus, in the end, you still also have the analysis questions down below. There will always be at least one analysis question on each test. So what's a good approach? Well, for starters, knowing what's on your study sheet is helpful. Checking the bulletin board regularly is helpful because then you know what's coming up for your homework. As you get, into a chapter, definitely want to use your flashcards or make your own. You also want to use your flip cards. Flip cards have non-term test questions on them. That's these. And then lastly, the note cards has everything. I mean, you could be in the car on the way home from school as long as you're not driving. You can be flipping through your flashcards and your note cards and getting, quizzed or tested on the information. You flip over and you can see answers. So that's one way. The flip cards, the flashcards, and note cards are helpful. The other tools that you will find helpful if we've done a lab, which we almost certainly will for every unit, you'll find at the tops of your study sheets, lab study sheets. So for the first test, you're going to have the microscopy lab on the test, and you'll need to know the microscope. So here is a nice, section that explains all the purposes of the parts of the microscope. And then this demonstrates the field diameter dilemma and understanding space and volume when you're looking through a microscope. This is looking at objects under high power, and this is looking at them under low power, and that's the proportional difference in volume that you're looking at through the lenses. Finding things looking through the high power lens is terrible. Finding things looking through the low power lens is a good idea because you can see the whole swimming pool. And then whenever you find something, you want to center and focus and then go to your higher power so you can magnify. So now, what are other things you can do to prepare, for the test? If you are approaching the test within the last couple of days and you want updates on what the test may be on, that's where you need to go to the chat room. You can access the chat room from the General tab, click on Chat, or you can get to it from the bulletin board. At the top, there's a chat link. So going from the General tab, I click on Chat, and this is the chat room. Now, the purpose of the chat room is to allow people to share information. Students can help other students, and I can help you. So I'll check the chat room on the nights before the test and try to answer questions. Usually on the nights before the test, I no longer answer emails. And the reason for that is I just get inundated with emails, and I can't answer them all. I either have to not answer any because I don't want to show preferences, or have no life and try to answer all of them. So the compromise was the chat room. And I will put up on the chat room pictures, diagrams, and specific test questions that you need to get ready for. So you'll notice that on your study sheet, you'll have like 15 objectives to know. But on this chat room, I'll say, hey, you really ought to know numbers like 4 and 5 and 9 for the test, because those have a high probability of being on there. So on the chat room, I will put down, test information for introduction test. Bring 2 number 2 pencils. Bring calculator. And I can't think of anything else I want to tell you at this point. And then I click post, and it posts. Now, the page has a 60-second refresh, and that's to keep the traffic rate down at the server. If the traffic level gets too high, the server will time out. GoDaddy actually hosts this site. And GoDaddy and all websites protect themselves from menacing attacks by simply preventing page loading if page loading gets too intense. So to kind of prevent that from happening, the chat room will only load new messages posted by your classmates every 60 seconds. So just be patient. If you don't see any new messages for 5 minutes, it's because no one in the class has posted anything. But if somebody posts something and you hear a ding, that ding sound, that means that somebody has posted some information and you want to go look at the chat room. So I would leave this up as a tab on the nights before the test and just check it periodically and see what the chat room has to say. But this will give you, the chat room is designed to give you specific final study preparation for the test. Now, if you've waited till the night before to study for the test and you use the chat room, it'll certainly help, but you will not get as high a grade as if you had studied on the way. So the best chance for success is to study a little every night and read the bulletin board, do your homework, know your objectives and your terms when you are asked to do them for homework. Study them then. And then on the nights before the test, you simply do the final preparation and know the final information. And you'll do very well, in the class. The chat room is generally turned off. So when you go to this page after you set your account up, it'll say page not active. But the chat room on about 5 to 6 nights before the test, I usually post the chat room, and it then tells you specific things to get ready for, for the test. One last thing, I will also be collecting BioAssigns from you. So you do want to access your BioAssign. You can get the BioAssign either from the assessment tab or from your bulletin board, which has a link at the top of the page. Your BioAssign also has sample test questions on it. Most of these are fill in the blank or matching. If you've answered all these and you can answer these questions, that's a good sign that you'll be able to answer questions on the test. Now, this doesn't have any essays on it, and the test will have some essays on it, but this is also a good preparation for the test. So the various things you need to do to get ready are, use your BioAssign, use your chat room, study your current topic study sheet, make sure you know it. If you have science skills that you're worried about, go to your resources page and review graphing and data table rules, and you'll be in good shape. Also, always ask your teacher. I'll be glad to answer questions to help you to get ready for the test. Generally speaking, when the test actually starts and we're in the test mode, which means, like, let's say the B period class on a Monday is taking a test, C period, I will no longer answer questions about the test. Sometimes I'll still answer stuff on the chat room, but once a test has actually been seen and taken by students, I can't control what they tell other students. And at that point, I don't want to be answering specific questions about the test that may have actually spread around by the test takers. So I won't generally answer questions about the test once the test is underway. So you want to try to hit me at least before the test starts. So the chat room's great before the test starts. Once the test actually starts, I usually don't post much on the chat room anymore. You're welcome to help each other. Nothing wrong with that. But as a resource, I generally kind of quiet down because I don't want to be helping the people that are taking the test later because the people that took the test earlier spread test information. Anyway, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in class.